So if you go to a med spa and you're struggling to get patients to come back, I'm going to give you the top 5 strategies I recommend to my clients to keep your patients coming back year over year. So number 5 is a weekly email/newsletter. And what this does is it just, continues to build the relationship with you and your patients and keeps you top of mind in their head. So just in case they're forgetting about you or they haven't stopped in a while, a newsletter kind of reminds them that you're there and that they can come in for a visit. What you want to send are educational tips, treatment spotlights, before and afters, patient stories, your story. You want to make sure that what you're sending is actually interesting to read. You don't want it to just be some AI generated newsletter. You want it to be selling a story or talking about something new, like something that you actually write up every week deliberately towards your patients that's interesting and fun to read, something you would read yourself. And you want to just send this out once per week. And then number 4 is a reactivation campaign. And these work really, really well once, and it's probably the easiest money you'll ever make. And then after that, they kind of work less and less. You still want to do them probably at minimum every 3 months, just some sort of offer for your old patients that aren't coming back. What you want to do is just segment your CRM and then send them some sort of higher end intro treatment or package that, at a bit of a discount, since they're patients that have come in before and you want to give them a real reason to come back. And it's a little different with the offer compared to Facebook ads. These people have been in your office before, they already trust you, and they already have a relationship with you. So you can actually offer higher end treatments, upwards of $700 just on the text. And then you also want to book them into a phone call rather than just straight into the appointment. So if they're interested, try to get them on the phone and then you talk about the treatment more. And that's when you would actually book the appointment to do the package. And then you also want to make sure that you have some sort of AI system that's following up with these leads and texting them as soon as they say they're interested. And that way you can get them on your calendar for that phone call right away. You also want to make sure the text messages you're sending have a direct and clear answer for them to do. So you want to make sure at the end of your message you have some sort of prompt like reply yes or no. They know exactly what to reply if they're interested. And your whole goal of the text messages you send is to either get yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not interested. And then once they say no, that's when you leave them alone, but you keep following up until you either get that yes or no. And then number 3 is always booking an appointment from an appointment. And now this is really important. You never want a patient to just leave your office without booking some sort of follow-up with you. Now that could be, another treatment or the actual package that they bought, or at, another consultation, a follow-up consultation, or at the very least, some sort of follow-up phone call. And you always want to ask your patients to just get them on some sort of follow-up consultation even if they're not interested, or follow-up call, so that you can have the chance to talk to them again and build that relationship and have another touch point and another chance to get them on that package. If you don't, they're just going to forget about you. You're not top of mind for them. And so you want to make sure that you're actually proactively scheduling these follow-up appointments. And then number 2 is, typically most med spas are already doing this, but it's really, really important to sell packages, series of treatments, 3 to 6 instead of just one-time treatments. And you want to sell 1 core outcome, 3 primary treatments, maybe 3 micro treatments, and you want to make sure it funnels into a membership. And this is just going to actually package multiple treatments together and give you a ton of more touch points with the med spa and give you a ton more cash than if you were to just book another extra appointment. And then the number 1 way I recommend to get patients to keep coming back is actually membership. A lot of people are doing the membership wrong. You want to sell 1 core outcome only. You do not want to have a membership that's a conglomerate of multiple services, just because when you do that, people don't find the value because they're only coming for one type of treatment and one type of outcome and solution they're looking for. And once they don't use those other treatments in that membership, then they're actually just going to cancel and churn out, and you're not going to be able to keep them on that membership for long. And you really want to have it month to month. I do not recommend doing contracts. It creates a lot of friction on the front end. And when you have a membership priced around $99, people, it's similar to a gym membership. If you add that contract in, a lot of people end up not actually joining that membership. and you're going to miss out on a ton of revenue when you could instead have a low friction membership at just $99 with no contracts, get a ton of people on the membership, and provide real value so that they don't cancel instead of just having a contract. And the best way that you can actually get people to stay is funneling the package sales you get into the membership via a rollover upsell. So how that would work is once they're in the middle of their package, you actually just ask them if they want this treatment that they're coming in for that package for free. So maybe it's a $900 package. They get 3 treatments for $300 each. You give them one of those treatments for free if they join this membership, which gets you recurring revenue and gets them coming back, is also a great deal for them. And then you can have some sort of cancellation fee. If they do decide to leave, then they just pay that $300 they would have already had to pay in the first place in order to get out of the membership. So it's a really great way to get a ton of people on and get them to stay for way longer. And also, if you're struggling with churn in your membership, just lots of people canceling at a certain point in time, you want to find out what month those people cancel and then add on a bonus, 2 to 3 months after that point that they get after they stay that amount of period. So let's say a lot of people for your membership leave at month 6. You want to calculate that time frame. And then at month 9, you give every single person that makes it that long a free treatment. And that's going to lower your churn rate a ton, your cancellation rate a ton, because no one's going to cancel their membership when they have a free treatment coming up in the next few months. But obviously, you want to make sure you're telling people that once they buy the membership and periodically through the membership as the time comes that their free treatment would come about. And yeah, that's everything you need to know to keep your patients for a super long time. Obviously, one of the best ways is just having really great service. If you treat your patients really well, you have a good relationship, people are going to come back. But if you want specific strategies, these are the ones I recommend. I also have a free sales playbook in the link below. It goes in more detail about how to sell on consultations, and it actually has a whole section on memberships and the strategies I use. It's free in the link below if you want it, and I'll talk to you later.